Hey there, YouTube fans, AC Productions here. And if you saw my last video, we did swap out the headlight bulb for a much brighter one. But if you guys know me, you know that I like to have a lot more lighting on the bike, pretty much on any bike that I ride, because I live out in a more darker road area, pretty much out in the sticks, out in the country, which is pitch black out here. So I'm going to be installing a little bit more lights on the 2024 e-vader that I have here. And we're going to be installing these guys. Now these guys are pretty much some lights that I've had laying around my shop for such a long time. I cannot seem to get rid of them. Now these are not lights that I would particularly install on a bigger bike like the R3 or my Gixxer. These are more for this particular project I think would be best. But of course, I'll have a link for these particular ones down below, but I also have links for a bit better style bulbs. So now let me go ahead and take one out so you guys can see these lights in person or up close. Now these are a set of fog lights that a customer had bought, or I had bought for the customer, but he never pulled through on the installation. So now that kind of just left me stuck with them, and I've kind of had them for a very long time. Yet I didn't want to install these on any other bike. So anyway, so you can see this has a halo ring, which is a white color, and then it has a LED projector, to project some light out. Now, if you do not, the cool thing about these, in case you don't want to install this halo ring, you could actually unscrew it. Go ahead and get these cables out of here. All right, this is just tingle. Okay, so anyway, you could unscrew it and just be left with a projector like this and have this installed. So now we're going to be installing these right over here. I would say pretty close to like the bottom part of the headlight. I'm going to install with the halo rings because I want to have that little bit extra lighting. Now what I'm going to do with the halo rings, I'm going to tap it in with the small little bulb that's here. So when I put the little bulb on, the halo rings will turn on as well. Then I have a separate switch to turn on the fog lights for that extra lighting. All right, so we're going to kind of get started right now. Now these particular ones do come with a bracket, which is right here, and like I said, I'm going to install them kind of in this area right around, I would say here, it's right where the slant of the headlight is. So I would say about right there looks like a good spot. And if we put the bracket right here, be like somewhere around there. So I would say about there. So I'm going to go ahead, what we're going to do is, I don't want to mar the metal of the shock tube. I'm going to go ahead and put some electrical tape, and it's up to you if you guys want to do the same. If not, just go ahead and install this here. And what we're going to do is we're going to use a zip tie, maybe one, maybe two zip ties to kind of really secure it in place here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and get some electrical tape and wrap it around a few times, and then I'll show you pretty much on how to install this thing, and then it's pretty much installed to here. So I don't want to get too much ahead of myself, but that's what I'm about to do right now. You guys do the same as well. All right, as you can see, I already got the electrical tape there. Okay, so now we have our bracket, we have our light, and I have 4 heavy duty zip ties. Now before we put in the screws to the headlight here, or the fog light, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of mock it up and just kind of put it like I'm going to be using it. So I'm going to go ahead and bend this wire and hold the bracket like this, and I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. But before we do that, let's actually get the zip tie in. I'm going to pretty much put it in through here and in through here. So if we had it, it'd be in like this and in like this. So it pretty much looks like something like that. All right, so now that we have that one, I'm gonna go ahead and put the other one in, because once we have it on there, it's gonna be kind of hard to actually, put the second one in. So now we got 2 of them just like this. I'm gonna put these other ones down. All right, so that's there. So now that I got those 2 on there, again, I'm just going to hold for now the fog light, and again, you want to hold it in the position of how the little hole is. There's the hole right there. That's going to correspond for the part right here, so you can get a more accurate placement. And then I'm just going to hold it right here to kind of eyeball it on exactly where I'm going to position it. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on. I'm going to get the camera out of my way. You guys do the same, and then we'll go ahead and once we get both on, we'll be able to fine tune, adjust the fog lights. All right, so as you can see, we do have the brackets on there now, on this side and on that side. Now we're going to go over to the bench, and I need to show you some other things. Alright, sorry for the mess, guys, but I do have so many parts for this e-vader bike that I'm kind of filming a lot of things right now for it. But anyway, getting back to the fog lights. Now before we actually do anything with the fog lights, with these wires for the halos, we don't have to extend, but I do kind of want to hide it. As you can see, it's a red and white, and I want to hide it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, and again, this is up to you if you have, but I do have some heat shrink tubing that I'm going to use. But if you don't have any heat shrink tubing, you could go ahead and use electrical tape and kind of wrap it up so you could hide it. So electrical tape if you guys don't have the heat shrink tubing. and that's what it's going to do, is just black it out so you don't see it. But I do happen to have some heat shrink over here, and this one is a 1/8 inch. We're going to see if that fits. So as you can see, 1/8, that's what we're going to be using for the tube. So let's go ahead and kind of put this through, and I think it will work out. Yes, it will. Sweet. Okay, so I'm going to use a few of, sorry about that, guys. So I'm going to use a few of these tubes to kind of hide and conceal the cabling a little bit. So while I do that, I'm going to do it for both. You guys do the same. But once you get towards the top, you want to make sure you don't cover these ends, because these are the ends that we're going to tie in for the small bulb on the e-vader headlight. Alrighty, guys, I pretty much approximately used around 3 tubes to cover pretty much the whole length of the cabling here. So now as you can see, they're blacked out, so pretty much you won't see them when we put them on the bike. Now as you can see, I have, let's see, we got the screw holes here on this one, so they're going to be attached this way, and when I put it, I like to have it like this, but for me, I'm kind of a little OCD, so knowing that the numbers will be, the right way on this one, but in this one they're going to be kind of crooked. I don't like to see that. It's going to bother me in the future. So what I'm going to do is, obviously I'm going to have both of them where the numbers are apparently down on both, and when doing so on this side, it's going to be fine because this one's going to go on the right side of the bike, so the cable's on the right spot. But on this one, the cabling's on this side, so I'm going to have to wrap it and put it this way to get into the headlight area. But you'll see once we get there. All right, so now that we got these guys already set and ready for installation, I'm going to go ahead and put these off to the side. What we're going to do now is we are going to get the screws, which are right here, and you have a few options. You want to for sure want to put some thread lock on the threads over here, so I'm going to do that as well, but I'm also going to use thread tape. Alright, so what thread tape is pretty much what plumbers use for plumbing, but I like to use it as an added security. As you can see, it's a very thin layer of I don't even know how to describe the feeling of this tape, but it's like a very thin tape, I would say. It's not a sticky tape, but it's a very thin tape, and it's fairly flimsy, I would say. But what I would say is that, you wrap it around the threads of the screw. As you can see, kind of blurry a little bit, but there we go. You can see, you just wrap it a little bit, and then I'm also going to put the thread lock on there, which is going to give me added security for the fog lights so they don't move around. So, but if you don't have thread tape, thread lock would work just as well. And if you don't have either, I would recommend you guys going to the store and buying either or, mainly getting the thread lock. And you want the color you want to get to be blue. Again, once we're putting these screws, what I'm doing, I'm just getting the little washers that come with it and putting them on there like this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and thread tape all of these, and then I'll get the thread lock, and then we're going to start putting the fog lights to the brackets. Alrighty, guys, I already thread taped all of the little tiny screws. Now here is the blue Loctite I was telling you guys about right here. So now I'm going to open this, and we're just going to put a little dab of blue thread lock on each one of the threads of the screws. You guys do the same. Alright, I already got the blue thread lock on all of the little screws. As you can see, the little tint of blue on each one of them as my camera goes out of focus. Now this is an Allen key style screw, and it's going to be used with a 3mm Allen key wrench or Allen key. So either you have this kind, which uses little bits, or if you have an L-shaped Allen key, that's what you want to use for this. All right, so now let's go over to the bike. Let's grab 2 of our screws as we're working one at a time, and we're going to get to the bracket, and the screw holes or the screws are going to go correspond with this. Obviously you already saw that when you were putting this on the bike. So let's go over to the bike and start installing these on there. All right, we're over by the bike. Now we're just going to go ahead and kind of flex this cable down. Obviously we got the DRL or the halos. Here's the wire. It's going to face in this way. So right now I'm just going to grab one of the screws, and we're going to put it in through this bracket. As you can see, the bracket slides, so you could even though you're not able to slide it all the way in, but so that's where it's at. So once you get it on there, just going to go ahead and tighten the screw on there. All right, once I hand tighten it, I'm going to go ahead and put the screw on the other end and hand tighten as well. Then after that, you're going to go ahead and grab your tool and then just pretty much tighten it in the rest of the way. All right, so while I do that, you guys do the same. Make sure you do that for both this side and the other side. All right, so far it's looking really good. All right, so next we're going to do is we're going to grab our cables for our halos, which is right here and right here, and we're going to pull the ends off on both the red and the white. Now what we're going to do is we're going to match the red with the red and the white with the white. So it's going to go ahead there, and you could do the twist tie method or whatnot. So we're matching, and we're just going to pretty much just twist them together. Alright, so we got that one for the red, and then next we're going to do for the white, which is right there. Make sure they're about even, and then just twist twist the two cables together. Alright, so you should be left with this. The two reds, two whites. Okay, so now it's going to come the fun part, as we have to remove our headlight right up here to get to the wires for the small little DRL, which is the little daytime running lamp, which is right there. And we're just going to pretty much we're going to be using some posi taps, and we're just going to tap into the cabling, and therefore anytime we turn on our little white light, that'll turn on both halos. So let me go ahead and remove the headlight. All right, so we're going to grab a towel and we're going to put it right here, as we want to make sure that the headlight lens does not get scratched in the process of us putting it down. We have our wires back there. So to remove the headlight, this guy right here, there's going to be 4 screws, one on each side. So one here on this side, on the other side, this one down here, and on the other side. And that's going to be with a 10mm socket. So go ahead and remove all those screws. Now we're going to bring our headlight and put it down and tap into our little small light. All right, now that we got all of our screws removed, I'm going to go ahead and grab our headlight carefully. Put it up there and there. And then we're just going to go ahead and carefully set it down on top of the towel. So now that we got it set down, go ahead and put the camera down here. Now the cables that we're going to concentrate on is going to be these two guys right here. It's going to be the green and black on the small little light. We are going to grab our cables for our halos, bring it in through the bottom there. And now to tap into those, we are going to use these two guys right here. So as I find them, it's going to be these guys right there. Posi taps. Greatest invention ever. Alright, so first we're going to do is we are going to unscrew the gray part. Notice a little slit right there. And we're going to just tap into, going to slide this into one of the cables here. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and slide it over in like this. Hopefully you guys can see it. As you can see right there, it's already slid in. So after that, we're going to grab the other end of this posi tap, and we're just going to screw it in on the gray part. Going to go ahead and then just go ahead and screw it, and you want to do that for both of the cables, as that's how we're going to tap into them. So there's no need to splice or cut or anything. All right, that's one. And then same thing with the other one. Unscrew it, slide the green cable in there, and then screw it back in. You want to make sure that when you put the posi tap in, that it's straight. Sometimes they tend to go a little go in crooked. If that happens, just unscrew it and then screw it back in. Make sure it's straight. All right, so now that we've got our two posi taps in, green is negative and the brown is positive. All right, so we are going to grab our cables here. Obviously, red is positive, white is negative. So we're going to grab our ends of our posi taps, and here is, sorry for that. So here's the end of it. We're going to grab our red, slide that through, make sure it slides all the way in like this, and then we're going to just pretty much thread that into the positive. And then you just go ahead and just screw it in. All right, once you get it tight, give it a little tug. If it doesn't go anywhere, then you know you got it in there really good. Then do the same with the other cable. Pull it through. And then just go ahead and screw this part in. All right. Okay, so that's that. All right, so now let's go ahead and test everything. Let me get the camera a little bit back to the side. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn the key, and then we're gonna turn in for the DRLs. And voila, you got the halos on. I'm not even sure if you guys could even see that. Right there, halo on. And then obviously our DRL in there, as you can see, is on as well. Awesome, so now we got extra lighting for sure when we have our, daytime running lamps. And then when you don't want any lighting whatsoever, you can just turn it off. Okay, I would say right now about this time, you may want to get some zip ties and kind of just tidy up the wires just a little bit so they're not kind of all over the place. So you guys do that and I'll do the same. Alrighty, as you could see, I did tidy up the wires a little bit there. Now before we actually put the headlight back on the bike, let's go ahead and go to the other side and install the switch that I'm gonna do for the fog lights. Now you could do it two ways for the fog lights. Now you already saw how we posi tapped for the halo ring. Now if you wanted to do it where the fog lights would come on when you turn on the headlights, then therefore you would tap into these wires right here for the headlight itself. Now it's going to be green is negative, blue is high beam, white is low beam. So then you would get your cables here, which is only red and black. Black goes to green and the red would go to blue. And then you would just put both of them together and run it to there like we did with the halos. Okay, at this point we are ready to go ahead and put the headlight back in place. So let's grab our headlight, and then at this point you kind of want to just manage the wires as best you can when putting the headlight back in. All right, so it's going to push some of these wires. I'm just pushing the wires inside the headlight over here, and then make sure that you know that the longer screws go on the bottom, the shorter ones go on the top. So I think we are ready to go there. And, all right, so while I go ahead and do that, you guys do your same. Just make sure you guys are taking your time in this department. They're on putting everything back in its place. Alrighty guys, now as you can see, this is going to be, you're going to see when I turn on my high beams that my auxiliary lights that I have right here at the bottom are going to turn on as well. Just going to go ahead and turn on our DRLs. As you can see, we have our halos connected with the little DRL, so that's going to, give us a little bit of a glow when we're riding. But once it hits nighttime, if you have your, this will be your normal low beam. But then once you hit your high beam, the aux lights right here at the bottom will turn on as well, giving you a lot more light. That's how it would be when we have it connected to our high beam switch. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. See, so now that we have the high beam switch, now you see the aux lights lighting up as well, giving me just that little bit of extra light it needed when we're out on the road. And then when you're done with your high beam, you just go ahead and turn it off, and that'll turn off your auxiliary lights as well. There we go. Alright guys, well hopefully you found this video helpful. Let me go ahead and turn off this light so I'm not blinding you guys, and we'll just leave it off with the halos. If you found this video helpful, please smash that like button. You can even see my fingers. Smash the like button. If you didn't find this video helpful, please smash the dislike button. Let me know down below of what you disliked about the video to help me out with a future video. Also, while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell somewhere down in the video. Have any other suggestions, please leave them down in the video as well. And if you know anyone else that has an e-vader or any, or even a Grom, this kind of, because the bike does resemble a Grom as well, and is looking to add extra lighting, please share my video. All right, guys, take care. Also, stay tuned for the next video where I'll show you how to hook up these auxiliary lights to a separate switch, to a separate battery on the e-vader. Therefore, you can kind of control the lights a different way. All right, guys, take care. Catch you guys on the next one.